Well, hello. How's everybody doing? Let's see. We'll let. Hi, Giovanna. I'm guessing that notifications worked. We'll see how that works and let some people come on in and we'll do a little bit of an update. Texas girl, hello. Had a heck of a time. Started to set the stream up about 6 o'clock, a little after 6, and computer went nuts. So it's just the way it goes, I guess. Only two over there. I'm going to go over and check Twitter and see how that's looking. And there's that one. There we go. We got notification put out there on Twitter. Hey, Jamie O. Son Honey's in the house. Coda. Debbie Hart. Trucking Girl. How you doing, sweetheart? Weather Cat. Got more and more people coming in. Hey, Raymond. Brenda Jackson. I don't see Judy in here yet. Lots of stuff happening, folks. Just lots of stuff happening. Chris. So, yeah, we got up there. So, yep. So Sunday, March 19th, the year 2023, and here we are looking at some really interesting things happening in our country. So, what do we have happening? We have got a George Soros stooge, district attorney in New York City, trying to do an indictment of a federal nature. That's a state district attorney on President Trump over something that would be a misdemeanor, has already been looked at 5 years ago, and was decided that there was no there. And anyway, it is George Soros, after all, working with a lot of these lower level politicians and sheriffs. George Soros, in my mind, is public enemy number one in the United States of America. And also, in my mind, and in my humble opinion, should be stripped of his citizenship and sent out of the United States. Or, as my grandmother used to say, a slow boat to China. I'd like to say more, but I'd probably get shut down on all of my streaming platforms. So we'll leave it at there. Anyway, we've got to keep an eye on the fact that you've got George Soros is put millions of dollars into these positions like state's attorneys, district attorneys, sheriffs. Your sheriff in Maricopa County, by the way, is a stooge for Soros. I've got individuals here in Nevada and Clark County, also stooges for Soros. He's probably got a dozen states that he's pretty much buying up the lower level locals and state positions in a way to make change that affects the entire country and to tear it down. Public enemy number one. Hillary Clinton herself said, "We need more people like George Soros," not too long ago. Well, a few years back. Well, of course, because he's doing that. He's heavily ingrained in Dominion. He was heavily ingrained into the old dealable platforms for voting systems, to the point to where he's pretty much on a weekly shuttle to Kiev over in the Ukraine. You know, and what's going on? We're really in deep kimchi in this country right now. The world, really, with the New World Order. And what are we doing about it? I've been saying it all along. It surprises the hell out of me that we can't get citizens of the United States to do what it is we're seeing other countries do. France, for instance, over the last couple of days, has been pushing back on the Macron administration and Macron for pretty much, he couldn't get the votes at the vote on the floor in the parliament, so he just went ahead and said, "We're going to pass it my way anyway." So they're in an uproar, and also part of that, he says, "Oh, we're taking away your right to protest in France." Yeah, how's that working out for you there, Macron? But they're doing it there, but they're not doing it. We're not doing it here in the United States. They're doing it all over the world, but we're not doing it here in the United States. We're not hurting enough, I guess. I've got an image back there behind me. You see this young man with chains? Everybody, if you look real close in this painting, everyone is chained and shackled. Welcome to the new United States. Okay? So, what are we going to do about it? I got a good question. What's going to happen if they indict Trump on Tuesday like he said they would? Like you said they were going to? It's a good question. He has Secret Service deployment that are with him. What they're looking to do is to do a perp walk with cuffs on. They're looking to shut him down from being an effective candidate for the RNC and running in 24. They're looking to shut him down at any cost. And they want to put cuffs on a former president on a misdemeanor charge that's already been looked into. I'm sorry. We should be taking the gloves off. Sorry, not sorry. And we should be doing a hell of a lot more. But you see what we're doing. And we're accepting it. We're like rats in a cage. And we're letting it happen. Well, we can call it double jeopardy, Mark, but the fact of the matter is, none of that matters when we're talking to these a-holes up top. We've got a justice system that is compromised. We have a Senate, a presidency, and a House that is compromised. Individual seats that were stolen. yeah, I still got to be careful on how I say stuff. I really want to open up, but I know that our friends at YouTube will get butt hurt and say that I was putting out misinformation. I would like to say I'll be glad when this is all over, but I don't know that it will be over. Which is why I said last week, and I've been saying for a while, I think it's time that we get prepared, that we start learning how to do things without having to go to the grocery store. We get prepared for the worst and hope for the best. Get our water supply handled. And as much food as we can that we can shelf for a while. Freeze dried foods, canned foods, you name it. Sure. Let's see if it came back.
You're there, boss.
Thanks. There we go. They're messing with me. I tell you, they're messing with me. I lost my internet for a minute. Thank you, son, honey. So you see, that's what they do. That's what happens when you start telling truths. They don't like that. They don't like that, I tell you. So it's been a month since my surgery. I've got physical therapy I'm going through. Hey, Bill. And so working on the stretch, working on the getting everything working normally again. I got a lot more mobility now. It's still, eh. So tomorrow I go for another stretching appointment where they'll grab a hold of me and do something like they used to do in the medieval days and go stretch you. So, anyway, where was I before I was so rudely interrupted with a lack of internet? Um, what are they going to do? What are we going to do if they indict Trump? Now, let's mind you that an indictment is not a conviction, and therefore, I don't think it's going to go anywhere personally. I don't even think he's going to be indicted. I think that there are enough attorneys of great big stature are going to step in and tell this George Soros stooge in New York, knock it off. Knock it off. Now, be careful, because if there's a bunch of patriots that want to go down to New York and fill up Fifth Avenue and all of that good stuff, you got to be watching out for Ray Epps over there, okay? You got to, he's probably already got his airplane ticket and heading out of direction. So, but what are we going to do? I mean, for the last year now, for almost a year, I was out there. I was away from my home and I was out there trying to get people to come out, trying to get people. I mean, it wasn't hard to see that people would agree with me. It was just hard to get people to come out and say, okay, let's go do this. And what are we doing? We are trying to get the government to know that they don't run us. They work for us. Now, that's a novel concept when it comes to a lot of young people today and some older people that listen to MSNBC and CNN. But they think that they need the government. They think that the government is the end all. They don't realize that the government is not supposed to even be there the way that it is. Do you know that there are more than 1,200 government agencies? 1,200. What do they do? One of those agencies a few years back was in charge of seeing, was attached to the Food and Drug Administration, and it was looking to see how quickly ketchup come out of the bottle. Now, mind you, millions of dollars to find out how quickly ketchup came out of a bottle. I kid you not. Look it up. These are the kinds of things that they've created with these 1,200 different agencies. And what we have to do is we have to go in and just start cutting a bunch of these agencies out. So I don't think that they're going to go through with arresting Trump. They want to. They want to have a perp walk, and they think that that will stop him from running in 24 or getting the nomination from the Republican Party. But I just don't think it's going to go that way. I really don't. The way that I think it's going to go is at the last minute they're going to drop. Now, I could be absolutely wrong on this, but I think at the last minute they're going to, nah, we're not going to do this. But they're going to try. I think they're going to try. the amount of pissed off people, because you know what? It's not about Trump. It's not about Trump. We are the United States of America, and we do not play this banana republic bullshit of arresting a former president because they are running against you politically. They must be scared to death, since this man's been out of office for over 2 years, and they still are going after him. They have got to be trembling in their frickin' boots. So we're not hearing or seeing the whole story. But nonetheless, we don't do that in the United States. We're not a banana republic. We don't send the police to arrest our political opponents. We just don't do that. And when we do, we're no longer the United States of America. So if they do arrest Donald J. Trump on Tuesday, we will be in a full-on constitutional crisis. I would venture to say we're already there, but there will be no doubt that we will be in a full-on constitutional crisis. And there will never be another Republican president if we allow this crap to continue. It just won't happen. The Democrats will get their way. They will get their way. Come hell or high water. Shave a few points here, oh, come on now. Come on. We know what happened in 2020. We know what happened in 2022. Our greatest I'm searching for the word. Our greatest thing to do as an American is to vote. It's the most honorable thing for us, is to select representatives for us to go and represent us. And when we cannot trust the system where we punch the button, the experiment's over. I know I'm kind of rambling. I've had 2 days of just wondering what the hell's going to happen. And, they couldn't possibly allow this to occur. I mean, after all, this man's got Secret Service details. Are they really going to allow him to be cuffed and taken into a jailhouse and processed when I can't walk up to him and shake his hand without getting knocked down by a Secret Service agent? And we're really going to believe for a moment that they're going to allow cuffs be put on this man and for him to be put into the back of a squad car and taken down to the police station and booked like any other prisoner intake and tossed in a holding cell, maybe even with other people? Do we believe that? And if that does happen, where will we be as a country? Where will we be when we could put a former president in a jail cell over something that's already been looked at up, down, sideways, forth, back and forth. We know that in 2016 that the majority of his campaign funding was out of his own pocket. It was out of his own pocket. He was taking small donations of $60 from individuals and sending them a hat in return, a MAGA hat. Small donations. This man put 80% of his campaign funds was funded by his own pocket. So even if he did pay, now, mind you, I came out of the corporate world. And I didn't know this happened, but it happens. I was VP of Operations and Engineering in the Chicago area. And I had a woman who was my customer service manager that I terminated. And a couple of weeks later, I intercepted a letter from a lawyer's office. And I was being sued for sexual harassment. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about, sexual harassment? Come to find out, it was because one day I had sitting at her desk, and I'd put my hand on her shoulder, and I'd leaned over. She's asking me a question, and I'm answering it, but I had my hand on her shoulder. Whoops. So I go into the company lawyer's office, and I said, what the hell's this? He said, oh, we've been expecting that. We're going to pay it out. I said, what are you talking about? We're going to pay it out. Well, yeah, we've already come to an agreement. We're going to pay her 20 grand, and it's just going to go away. I'm like hell we are. That's not happening, because then I am guilty by default as a sexual predator and you were going to do this without my knowledge. No. I'm telling you, no, we're not going to pay this woman 1 red cent. I will fight it. And you want to know whose law firm? It was that Jesse shoot. Reverend Jesse Jackson. It was his place that she was going through. When I went to deposition, half my employees showed up as a character witness. And they were fuming red. Some of them red-faced like you wouldn't believe. Saying, I saw this instance, and I'm telling you there was nothing to it, blah, blah, blah. Well, I won the case. But my point is this. Corporate entities constantly pay out to shysters to make them go away. I'll guarantee you that was Stormy Daniels. I'll guarantee it. Where Trump just told, what the heck's his name? Michael Avenatti? Not him. Yeah. Cohen. Just get rid of this gal. Just pay her off. Well, Michael had access to Trump's bank account, and he took that and he paid Stormy Daniels off. Well, they tried to say that it was campaign funds that he paid with. Well, how's that possible when over 80% of his campaign was paid by him? So this was all joke. He just was running for president, didn't want this to go anywhere. So just get rid of this gal. What's she asking for? X dollars. Okay, give her X dollars and send her a pack in. Get her to sign a document that says she won't do nothing. I've seen it in operation. I know that's what happens. And that's what happened. I'm sure of it. I'm sure of it. So it's a nothing burger when it comes to the actual stated charges. They've already found out that he did not use campaign funds to pay the woman off. Paying it off is standard business practice when it comes to big people because, you know, look at Elon Musk. How many people do you think he's had to just pay off? They're like flies that how much do I got to pay to get rid of this little frickin' fly, right? They're shysters. They're con artists. They're out looking for a buck and they're just trying to find a way to get that buck. And they know that they can get these big people to just say, sign here, I'll give you what you want. Don't shadow my doorway again. That's what happens. But we are in some deep shit. I mean, we're sitting here looking at $4.50 a gallon for gas. I just filled my car up the other day. It cost me $71. I was at a quarter of a tank already. It's a small car, so it's like, wow. I don't dare fill up the service truck. I mean, that'll cost me $200-300 right now. Hey, Fry. So we've got to sit down and we have to think, what are we going to do when the lights go out? Now, by the lights go out, I mean, what are you going to do when we lose the internet? What are we going to do when the cell phones quit working? Are you prepared? Are you prepared? Do you have comms? Do you have the ability to reach out and touch your neighbors or so on? Invest in those little walkie-talkies that you can get over at Home Depot, or you can get them at your local sporting goods store, truck stop. You know, invest in them so you at least talk to your neighbors, right? Line of sight, you're good for half a mile or something like that. Protection. You got yourself protected. You got your water. You got your food. You got your batteries. You've got your library. Yeah, I said your library. Your binder full of all of your to-dos in case something happens. It may have just everything. It's got your recipes. It's got your, who to call when, God forbid you step out and get hit by a bus. So you've got your library. That's a big thing. And you're prepared for the worst. Set up your community. You get to know your neighbors. I've got Jerry in the back here. He's donated the use of the trailer that we were pulling behind Beachy on the walk. We still have his trailer. He's not, he's like, hey, I know where it's at. And still we're trying to figure out exactly what we're going to do. If I was to go out and just do another walk, I think that would be fruitless. Because I don't know that we're at a point to where we get any more people to come out. And this is bigger than me. This isn't about me. This is about our country. My kids are all grown and gone. But I have grandkids and I have great-grandkids. And even today, if I went to a school board meeting and they were putting a drag queen in front of my grandchild, my great-grandchild, I think I'd be completely uncontrollable. Now, some people say, well, you just need to run for local office. Well, that would be good if we could trust our systems. If the integrity of our voting systems were good. So we have that problem. They've got us good. We've been asleep at the wheel for way too many decades right now. Probably 60 years. JFK tried to tell us. JFK tried to tell us. Military-industrial complex. AKA New World Order. So, I think if you're going to go to New York and be there for Tuesday morning, keep your head on a swivel, Don't do anything stupid. Remain peaceful. Be peaceful. Don't let them come up with another J6 on this. They're always trying to make MAGA folks look bad. They're trying to make patriots look bad. They're trying to do anything and everything to connect us to Donald Trump. And as I said earlier, this isn't about Donald Trump. Take Donald Trump's name off of the damn ticket completely. It could be any president. We shouldn't be doing it. Okay? And it's not what Trump, it's not Trump in office. You know, I had an issue with a person that I won't go into deeper than just that. They said to me that I had my nose stuck up Trump's ass one time. Like, what? Said, since before that man came down the escalator, I've been talking about this stuff for years before this. And now that somebody is coming out that's talking about doing what we had said needed to be done for years prior, it's all about me sucking up to Trump. No, it's about me defending freedom. Trump defends freedom. And as far as I'm concerned, he's the only one that I have seen who has not reneged on any words he states. So Trump's the man that I follow. But it doesn't have to be Trump. Anybody that would stand up there with cojones big enough to sit there and say, I'm going after the deep state and I'm going to make sure that you are protected, I'd get right behind them. I'd get right behind them. I wouldn't care if it was a Democrat, if the person had a history of doing that. As an independent, I look at what their platform is, what their history is. And I've said for decades that we needed a businessman in the White House to take care of fixing this stuff. So, Elon Musk can't run for president. He wasn't born here, so the Constitution prohibits him from running for president. Which I think may have been done once already, kind of putting us into a constitutional crisis. I mean, when you take a look at, for instance, when a lawyer is found to be a bad apple or a cop, every case they've prosecuted is looked at. Every single thing they've done is scrutinized. Every sentence, if it's a judge, for instance, is pretty much reversed. If we had a president who, by the Constitution, was not supposed to run, but was there for 8 years, would that mean that any of the laws or executive orders or anything that that individual did is legitimate if the person himself was not legitimate? Begs the question, right? So, yeah, that's the key. You know, I sat with a candidate for Congress. We had a conversation. When I went over and I met with the senators last year, he sent me a text message. He says, Ron, if you don't run, I'm going to be extremely disappointed. Because I've been considering running for assembly in the state of Nevada, District 27 myself. I don't know. We've got to fix a lot of things. But I'm seeing people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, and now this new one, Lund, out of Florida. A couple of them. Wow, they're movers and shakers already. So we got a lot to fix in this country. But I ask myself just how legitimate a lot of this stuff is going to be, or is. If the presidency is not legitimate and is found at sometime in the future to not be current, is any of the decisions of that resident upheld? Are they legal? I ask myself that a lot. It's uncharted grounds. There is no precedent to be able to look up and see, well, this precedent. Speaking of that, give me just a moment. I want to double check on something here. HJ Res 7 is still hung up in the Senate. Should have already been there. They should have already voted on it. It's been there since the second. It's been there over a month. Month and a half. So I was looking at this dude right here. So what is it? When I started this whole thing, I've said we needed to end the state of emergency. And that's exactly what this joint resolution that passed the House back in February did. But we need the Senate to also pass it. So this is HJ Res 7. We still haven't gotten anything out of that. So what else do I think? I'm just kind of going off. I think tomorrow somebody needs to file articles of impeachment on the resident, Joe Biden. Not the president, because I don't believe him to be. He's not my president. File articles of impeachment against him. Or Nancy Pelosi in 2020, gave us a favor. She made it so that the 25th Amendment could be processed by a committee of professionals appointed by the House of Representatives, instead of just the president's cabinet invoking the 25th Amendment. They could put together a committee, not representatives, but actually a committee of professionals, doctors, so on and so forth, to look at the resident. And if they were able to deem him unfit, they could process the 25th without the cabinet. I think that would be easier than impeachment. I really do. I think that if you ran the 25th on him out of the House, you would save a heck of a lot of money, because you wouldn't be spending the money to go through the articles, and you wouldn't need the Senate. Thank you, Nancy Pelosi, for that one, because you could do everything right out of a GOP-run House and a committee that would come back and say, hey, this guy's Looney Tunes and is unable to do his job. Take him out. Then you impeach the second. That's what you do. I think that would be the thing that we should be looking to do. Somebody needs to act on one of those things tomorrow. Make it front page news. Make it front page news. And then they're going to be go, whoa, 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 time out. Which, as far as I'm concerned, run both simultaneously. Whichever lands on the desk first, that's the one we go with. It's that simple. All right. So, man, I got a lot I want to talk about. I want to say, but I also know that A, timing, B, censorship. I want to let you guys know that things have been slow. I've been watching to see what is going on politically speaking. See whether or not people were going to get pissed off, because it was something that I thought that I would see a lot of people coming out there when I was doing the walk. So we've been just doing things around the house here, cleaning things up, putting the stuff up for sale, kind of minimalizing things here. We got some good news. We got Whiskey Tango and Miss Patty will be here tomorrow. They're coming to visit on their way back through to go to their home. They have a new property that they need to get to and get working on it, and they've been down in Quartzsite, Arizona, camping out for the summer or for the winter. So they're going to make their way home. So they'll be here for a bit. That'll be good. Be able to visit with Whiskey Tango and Miss Patty. I got some stuff that I'm doing. Right now I got a lot of appointments. Medical appointments. A lot. Twice a week at least. I got some specialists I've got to see. I've got another MRI I have to get done on another issue. I'll let you all know what that issue will be once I get further down the road. But gotta have some things looked at. Hopefully everything will come out okay. I'm okay with it. I don't think that there's going to be anything major, but it's still I still have to have it looked at. So I'm waiting. It's a hurry up and wait game anytime you have the VA involved. So, so I have a lot of that. In the meantime, I still want to be engaged with working for this country, making sure that this country, that I can do something. Knowledge is power, and if I can instill some knowledge amongst people, then that's a good thing. So I wanted to update you folks, let you know. Aces, thank you. I haven't been reading the chat, so I just wanted to touch base. I am making some sourdough bread, so I'm going to go out there after I end this and work with my dough and get ready to put it in the oven. And by the way, as I said once before, sourdough bread, it only has 4 ingredients. So if you're getting prepared or you're trying to get off the processed food train of the poisons that they might be feeding us, learn to make your own bread. So Yeah, I've been working with the sourdough. I got a good sourdough starter. Um, Once you get your sourdough starter going, you can do a bunch. Yep, healthy food. Man, when you start really looking at the amount of preservatives, and God only knows, look what they did to our chickens. Like I've said before, what what we figured out that they were doing to our chicken feed. My chickens just quit laying eggs back in September, and I have 10 chickens. And my hens yesterday laid. I collected 8 eggs yesterday and 7 today. So getting them off the laying the hen food, switched it up, and I put them on goat feed, and I just add in some oyster shells and some grit so they can still get their grit. But they started laying again 7 days after I changed their food up, after 7 months with no eggs. Well, one woman found is that they made it so that you would take a pellet and you'd drop it in water before, a year ago, and that pellet would dissolve. That's what you're giving to your chickens. But then sometime in September, you drop that pellet in the water, drop a pellet in, it wouldn't dissolve, wouldn't soak up the water. So when it gets into a chicken's body and it's ground up in the gizzard and it's run through, no nutrients stay with the chicken, no protein. So as a result, the hens don't have enough protein other than to survive, so they don't make any eggs. So if they're doing that to our chickens, what are they doing to us? And especially when you now can see that pretty much it's a conglomerate. One company owns pretty much all the chicken layers, the egg processing plants in the country. Now, Land O'Lakes, it's a subsidiary. Land O'Lakes runs it all. I'm not buying their stuff anymore. They worked with Purina. They own Purina, and Purina was doing the food processing, packaging for Tractor Supply, and that's where I was getting my feed. So they started hollering avian flu, and then we saw all these chicken farms going up in smoke. I think a dozen of them in over a 2-month period. Hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of hens burnt alive. So I feed them my table scraps. So every night they get their own bowl, and in the morning I take it out to them, and I give them the goat chow and the mix. Boy, they've gotten fat and plump, and they're laying eggs like crazy. So, but what does it mean for us? There's 2 things about this, by the way, the eggs. Oh yeah, wait a minute. I'm not going to do it, but I've got my tinfoil hat there. Might have to put that tinfoil hat on. There's an enzyme, an antibody in chicken yolk, egg yolk, excuse me, that deals with spike proteins. It diminishes spike proteins. Now, where have we heard that before? Do the math. Do the math. Eat your eggs. Over medium, over easy, but get that yolk and get that antibody in your system. All right, folks, I love all of you. I'm going to try to to put an actual schedule together for y'all and put together some content. If you haven't done so already, go out and check out Wendy Bell Radio. She's got a Saturday show on Newsmax, Wendy Bell on Newsmax. But she's also Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to Eastern to noon Eastern. She's got her syndicated show that she's got at wendybellradio.com. She's on Rumble, Wendy Bell Radio. Check her out. She's got, she is the female Rush Limbaugh. I'm here to tell you. So I try to catch her all the time. Hey, Aaron, how you doing there, Gunny? Good to see you in there, buddy. Thank you for putting that up there, Texas girl. What do you mean you're blocked? You're not blocked, Daryl. I see you. Thank you, Fry. Appreciate that. She's on Facebook as well. Be careful, though, with that, with Facebook. She was talking a couple weeks ago about her Facebook was hijacked. So keep an eye on that. Yes, and she is also on your favorite podcast system. She's got that, and she has her own app you can download. So Wendy Bell, if you liked Rush Limbaugh, check out Wendy Bell. I've been on with Wendy twice during the walk. Great lady. She's a firecracker, man. So check that out. WBR show. Yeah. Yeah, I thought she had a problem with her Facebook being hijacked and she was going to try and get a new one going. So but check her out. I think you'll like her. Okay. Well, folks, it's been just at an hour or so. I'm going to go ahead and give some attention to the sourdough bread. I'll post some pictures of that sourdough. Maybe I'll post a little video of me doing that sourdough and put that up under the community so you can take a look at that as well. Yeah. So anyway, I'm going to go take care of that. Love all you folks, and thank you so much for sticking around. And we'll try and get a schedule put together for you folks. Things are starting to settle down here a little bit, but as you can tell from what's behind me, we're still in chains, and we need to fight the system. We need to let them know who they work for, and it is for us. So with that, I'm going to say God bless. God bless you all. God bless the United States. Good night.